It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
And good morning, 3rd of June 2019. It's 8 a.m. CET, Piotr here, and this is the pre-London live market coverage on Global Light Forex YouTube channel. Let's start, guys, with risk warning. Busy week ahead. That looks nice. New month, new opportunities. So let's have a look what we have, but again, a risk warning first. Guys, please bear in mind trading on FX, trading on crypto, on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors who can sustain a loss of some or all initial investment. So please, please, please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. Okay, so where we are. Huge development last Friday, and we are going to go step by step through all these charts. But let's start with calendar and what we have today. The big thing is, of course, Thursday. Thursday European Central Bank rate decision, and Friday non-farm payrolls from US, right? But looks like this week every day something is going on. Anyway, let's start. What happened during the Tokyo session? Final manufacturing PMI out of Japan, 49.8, market expectations 49.7. Last time we got 49.6. Yeah, a little bit better than what was expected, but still below 50. More important was Kaixi manufacturing PMI, so Chinese PMI, 50.2. Expectations were at 50, previous one 50.2. So yeah, bit above. What we are waiting for? 8:30 Swiss CPI. What market is expecting is tick higher, 0.3 versus 0.2 last time. Today, the key for euro might be European PMI, so watch out for Spanish, Italian, French, and German, and of course the final one at 10 a.m. CET. Then there is the opposite, manufacturing PMI out of UK. It's also very important from Euro-Pound perspective. We are going to discuss it in a second. Then 3:30 manufacturing PMI out of Canada, 3:45 p.m. CET. It's a final manufacturing PMI at 4 p.m. CET. ISM manufacturing PMI from US. So pretty busy day. Of course, it's worth to mention that the next Asian session, 3:30 a.m. CET, retail sales out of Australia, and then 6:30, so 1 hour and 30 minutes ahead of our meeting tomorrow morning, right? There is a RBA statement, RBA rate decision, so very interesting thing from the Australian dollar perspective. Okay, so let's start with dollar index, very interesting things we were discussing, and looks like we were correct about the possible rejection around the high on DXY. So let's have a look what we have. Let's switch to the DXY. Yo, okay. So if you remember what we discussed, it was two things. First thing first is this supply around 100, right? And it's still somehow we can get there, right? But what we were also discussing, it was the November 2016 monthly open, right? So the whole price action during this election in 2016, all right? And looks like bears on the dollar, they already started selling. It's how I see the things here, around this level, all right? So we had some kind of the rejection in May, we had the rejection in April, right? So last 2 months upper shadows. Still looks like a little bit of double top with the high from the last month a little bit higher than what we've seen in April, all right? And to be honest with you, very interesting stuff. The thing is, the support demand is expected around the April open. Okay, in that case we are talking about the levels closer towards 97.25. So very interesting, quite narrow range here, but with all these fireworks going on currently, I do expect pretty busy summer holiday. So it might be very interested. All right, so let's have a look what we have on the dollar index on a lower time frame. So let's switch to the weekly chart. Let's switch to the weekly chart. Okay, it's better visible here. So long upper shadow after what price action we've seen 2 weeks ago. Last week it was the retest, and we were discussing this possibility of over under, right? Looks like that was the case. Long upper shadow, all right, but still above 97.50, 97.30, right? If you remember, if the price action we've seen 2 weeks ago, right, was the stop count towards the price action seen late April, all right, if that was the stop count 2 weeks ago, I would expect some kind of the stop count to the downside, right? In that case, we are talking about the zone below 97.50 towards 97.30. That's what we discussed, and that's where we are gonna to get the information, in my opinion, what next, right? So for now, from a higher time frame perspective, on a dollar index, watch out for the price action either around most recent high or most recent low, and either close above or below might bring the continuation, all right? Very narrow range. It's time to break the range soon, in my opinion. Let's switch lower to the daily. So again, even better visible here, strong price action into the monthly weekly close. So we ended up the week where we started, right? In that case, all right, what I see here, as we were discussing the possible stop count, I'm going to make the measure. Easy stuff. I'm taking opening and closing levels over here. All right, break to the downside might bring even 97 with all these stop count games we were discussing a second ago based on a weekly and monthly. All right, and to the upside, break to the upside may bring 98.70, 99, so higher towards the supply based on the monthly chart. That's how I see the thing on the dollar index. So bulls are gonna fight for, from the daily perspective, bulls are gonna fight for lower shadow over here somewhere around 97.30, right, to have failure if we can agree that that's the range, right? So probably we are going to see a little bit lower levels, and the bulls will start to fight for lower shadow. So stop hunt to the downside means that there is a chance we are going to see higher levels. On the other hand, the Friday, last Friday high as a possible supply, right? So what I'm looking for, to be honest with you, I'm looking for this type of the price action. Higher we go, all right? Might be towards European Central Bank rate decision. For sure, Mr. Draghi is going to, or his intention is going to be weakening the euro. So that might be the price action to the upside here. But then, yeah, I would expect a little bit lower levels on the dollar, at least at the very beginning of the June. That's what we discussed last time as well. All right, so that's how I see the things on the dollar index. Let's get back to the platform and let's go step by step through particular currency pairs. Okay, let's start with euro dollar. All right, that's the weekly chart, and here for quite some time the price action we've seen over there, we were discussing a few times, especially late April range over here, late April range over here. So there was a breakdown and there was the lowest yearly close, right? Lowest close within this year, 2019. All right, since then we were trying to push prices higher, bulls were trying to push prices higher, but the level around 1240, 1250, that's where the supply was very active, right? Then was the attempt to break lower, and 2 weeks ago we hit more stops to the downside, right? But with rejection over here. Now this price action, especially for the candlestick fans, we were discussing that the pin over here, it wasn't done. It was the possibility, and we were very close last week, right, that we are going to see more stops. But looks like for now market is trying to play over under here. All right, what is needed? The weekly close above last week high. That could provide some relief rally for euro bulls. That may cause some bigger profit taking overall on the dollar side. So let's switch to daily chart. Let's switch to the daily chart, and there you go. So looks like there is a lot of activity going on closer towards 1130, 111, 30, 111. taking into consideration the lower shadows over here, there are also a very nice swing low created last week on the daily chart, right? Especially the Friday rally. What we have to have in mind that it's possible that it was just partial profit taking. It might be attempt to retest the swing low. So in that case, what I'm gonna to look for, Thursday range, the narrow range over here, right? And the top of that range, we are talking about the 1143. Then the Thursday and Friday open, and in that case we are talking about the levels closer to 1130. That's where the where I do expect the demand appear over here, right? What is needed? Close above this liquidity pool over here, right? So it might be that we are going to retest the high only over here, just to create another swing high, and we seen that a few times already. Okay, so daily close above 1215 might bring relief rally, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the rally towards 1275. So in that case we are talking about this liquidity pool, all right, and we do have supply based on the range we've seen on the 17th of April, all right, from the euro dollar perspective. Of course, let's get back to the weekly for a second. Of course, break and close below the lows over here is going to bring or expose the possible demands from the weekly chart around 110 and below 110, all right, the huge blue zone over here. Okay, especially based on what we discussed a few times, if we agree that this breakdown over here, right, that was the new range creation. So in case we are going to close below, right, just taking into consideration just the bodies, not the shadows, so it might expose this this demand. Are we going to see this price action to the downside after the European Central Bank decision, after the Draghi press conference? Join me on Thursday. I'm going to cover European Central Bank rate decision. I'm going to cover live. You are more than welcome to join me this upcoming Thursday, 1:15 CET, so half an hour before the rate decision. So we are going to watch out European Central Bank rate decision together. Okay, so we know swing low created to the upside, something around 1215, all right. So as I mentioned, I do expect a little bit more bullish activity around the Thursday high, and so we are talking about the 1143 and lower down towards 1130. To the upside, I do expect bearish activity around the top from the 27th and 24th of May, so around the previous week high and the high we've seen 2 weeks ago. So let's switch lower. What we have here, all right. This one is from, oops, this one is from 15 minutes, I bet. Okay, we are going to discuss it in a second. So this price action seen last Friday into the London fix was amazing, all right. Bulls were able to push prices back towards intraday high into the close, all right. Now Tokyo brought stop hunt above, and we are right now ahead of the European Open, we are getting back below. Now, from the 1 hour chart, all right, I think I think that late New York demand is gonna to be retested. This demand, right? So what happened here was the break, range break, all right, retest and move higher. So after the retest, we've seen here the yellow color over here. I do expect inside this yellow box some kind of the intraday demand. That's what I'm gonna to look for right now. The thing from the bear's perspective, right? Now we know why there is a pullback during the Tokyo session. All right, we hit supply around 1190 based on this intraday price action from the 28th of May, right? This breakdown over here. But I would say that the zone over here, where there is a also possible supply based on the daily chart, is going to be much more important. Okay, so the bears are waiting for the opportunity around 112.15, and the bulls are looking for an opportunity below 11.43. That's how I see the things on the euro dollar from the intraday perspective. Again, from the higher time frame, just to be on the safe side, especially from the weekly. I know that these two lower shadows looks great, and it's almost like the invitation to just go in long euro dollar, but I really would be very careful. The relief rally is possible only with the weekly close above the previous week high. But to be honest with you, to delay the bearish scenario, or overall to cancel the scenario, we need the close above this breakdown candle. We are talking about this late April activity. In that case, we are discussing the weekly close above 1262 is needed right here. So that's how I see the things on the euro dollar. Now there is a nice reversal on the pound seen last Friday. Now today's price action, today's activity is gonna be crucial here after this huge pound sell-off. After this huge pound sell-off over here, all right, attempt to reverse last Friday. The thing is, it looks good. It looks like almost outside day, so it's positive from the bulls perspective. But important thing is where we had a weekly close in that case, or daily close, both, right? It was right at this previous swing low. So when we are going to take into the consideration the price action from the 22nd of May, all right, the low here, we are talking about the 26.24. That's the key level, right? The next one, 26.47. So these two lows over here, right, where we saw attempt to build this swing low. These two lows are the key today, and this 47 been tested during the Tokyo session, but we need the daily close above. We need the daily close above to see something more. What I mean something more, I wouldn't be surprised to see the rally towards 2740 in, if you remember from the previous week, 2740, 2750, that's where we have the yearly open, right over here. We are talking about the 2748, and my month May brought the breakdown, right? So I wouldn't expect for now anything bigger than 2740, 2750, and based on what we've seen here, that's possible. Now we do have this UK PMI week, and also we are going to have probably next week. Let me have a look. No, it's I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the same week as FOMC. So the 20th of June we do have Bank of England. If we are going to get any kind of the positivities, Brexit related, then pound may catch up with interest rates trades, right? Probably we are not gonna get sustained rally as long as we have this Brexit uncertainty. So closer we are going to go towards any kind of the agreement, then the pound may catch up and trade with interest rates expectations. So then and only then we might see the pound rally eventually. So for today, what I'm gonna to look for a little bit lower levels. I'm looking for Friday low and Thursday low as possible demand zone, and trying to explain different words. I'm looking for some kind of the attempt to create the swing low around the Friday low and Thursday low. So from the bullish perspective, right, we need to hold that low, and we need to close above 2650, and current levels, what we've seen right now, that's where I do expect some bearish activity. But again, I wouldn't rather be a seller here. I would wait for any kind of the spike towards yearly open. So in that case, we are talking about some kind of spike towards 2740, 2750. So I'm going to skip these levels, and I'm going to watch for a spike towards this level, and I do expect some kind of the business finishing around 2750. Okay, in case, just in case of the close above 2750, we might see huge rally towards the open from the beginning of May, right? In that case, we are talking about 30.25, but only with daily close above 27.50, with move back above yearly open. So intraday price action. What we've seen here, I've been pretty busy late Friday. I've been trying to recognize what, where. Anyway, nice rally. All right. I do expect some bullish activity around the previous weakness. Right. I do expect some activity over here. There is a retest of this weakness, right? Let me change it. I'm going to explain you what I'm talking about. That's where we've seen the latest weakness, right? On Friday, this Niagara Falls over here, right? So bulls were able to rally and close above, right? So that's where the latest supply been visible. Now I do expect some kind of the demand, right? There is a low from this Sunday open around 26.16, at least based on the chart I'm using here. All right, so I do expect maybe we are going to see some kind of the stop count, few pips below, but still would expect some kind of the bullish activity, intraday bullish activity here. Bearish activity, I do expect somewhere closer towards the range from here. Right, we hit that supply once, so meaning that we do have nice pull of the stops above this level, right? And as I mentioned, brother, this around these levels I'm going to skip. I'm waiting for the stops over here, and that's where the yearly open is, and that's where I do expect some fight in case of the rally towards that high, right? And based on what we've seen towards end of the month, if we are gonna to get positive PMI, right, nothing negative from the Brexit perspective, we might see this 2750 retest the yearly open to be tested. But it might be a little bit better if you are positive towards the British pound, right? With all this risk of sentiment currently, right? It might be worth to check euro pound instead of the dollar pound, right? Dollar might be safe haven, right? Dollar might find safe haven bid. And with euro pound, we were discussing previous week where we are, right? So what we discussed was the thing of this latest activity, right? Where we saw 88.50, 88.60 as possible supply based on what we've seen to the left, all right? And 87.90 as a possible demand. So bulls were looking for a breakout and continuation, right, based on the Riley, all right? And looks like at the very beginning of the Friday session there was an attempt to break higher, but as you can see there is a nice upper shadow over here. So I do think that we can expect still we can expect supply around 88.50, 88.60, right? Of course demand around 87.90. If the Friday if the latest here, if the Friday price action, it was a stop count only, right, with the close below the high from the 24th of May, right, we might see the price action to the downside. So if we took the stops to the upside, it's time at least to take some stop to the downside, right? But what the bulls may try to play on, it was the highest close. It was the highest close. And if we are going to take into the consideration, it was the Friday, meaning it was the weekly close as well, right? It was the weekly high within last few weeks was the weekly high. We might see attempt to go higher here, right? of course, bears are going to try to trade swing high game over here. Okay, so overall, I'm looking for the price action around 88.50, 88.60. All right, and if bears are going to have enough money to push it lower, we need to see the close below 87.90, and that might expose the range over here, the latest weakness around 86.50. That's what we discussed as well. All right, for now, narrow range 87.90, 88.60. Break below and close below 87.90 will expose probably first low from the 21st of May. We are talking about 87.25 and then 86.50. In case of the bullish breakout, right? In case of the bullish breakout here, we might see 90 again. That's how I see the things on the euro pound. Okay, now because within less than next 24 hours we are going to get the RBA rate decision, right? Let's have a look what we have on Australian dollar. I have to clean the chart somehow. I promise I will in the near future. Now, market is expecting 25 basis point cut from 1.5 to 125, right? And it's the huge pressure from the market, but the thing is what RBA is going to do, all right? From this higher time frame perspective, the key development we've seen in May was the lowest 2019 close based on the monthly chart, right? So we saw the breakdown below the yearly open, all right? That's the huge development. In that case, all the chances, the bigger chances are that we are going to see some lower levels. And when I'm talking about the lowest levels, I think about this flash crash from the very beginning of the January. In that case, we are talking about the 67.60 and the stops below. All right. Only monthly close above previous month's high might bring a little bit of the rally based on over under created here. All right. Now there is also nice demand based on the monthly chart, based on the February 2009 activity over here. Right, and as you can see now, you get the point where the bullish activity might be. So let's switch to the lower time frame, right? And here it's not great from the bull's perspective. Why it's not so great? The breakdown we've seen 3 weeks ago with the price action we've seen 4 weeks ago. All right, this combination, this breakdown, right? What is important from my perspective, and of course as long as we are below, it's in bear's favor. So sorry. Anyway, the range we've seen 3 weeks ago, right? What I do expect, we are going to retest this high. So it's a 70, right? That's the key psychological level. But as long as we are on a weekly close below, I do expect more price action to the downside. It's usually, and probably you know from the books, from the different books, right? In case of the strong breakout to the upside, there usually 3 to 4 time frames on the particular time frame as a correction, right? And usually after such a breakout, the bottom of the breakout works as possible demand, all right? Very often we might see some kind of the stop hunt. In that case, we might see lower shadow below the bottom as a stop hunt, and then usually we've seen the at least retest of the high, if not break higher, right? And that works the same way. That works the same way with the breakdown, and that's what we have here, right? The only thing is this big red box, meaning that's the possible demand based on the monthly chart, right? So one of the reasons we've seen rally off that level, but we've seen we have this range from 3 weeks ago, plus we have drop base continuation, right? So we have this huge base over here. So 70, even if we are going to get the close above 70, I think that 70-60, it's what you can see in the comment section, is much more important. I know that the psychological, from the trader's perspective, 70 level, it works for imagination, but 70-60 is even more important from that perspective. So what I'm gonna to look for, probably if there is a no rate cut, right, we are going to see huge Aussie rally, all right, but I wouldn't bet on that. I wouldn't bet on that, especially on US dollar, right? In case of bullish Australian dollar bet, I would rather watch via either yen or Canadian dollar. All right, that's how I see the things here. So let's give them the time to manage this new week properly during the Monday, both European and New York session. Then we are going to have 2 meetings tomorrow. You are more than welcome to join me at 8 AM CET again to cover pre-London Open, as well as to join me at 2 PM CET right at the New York Open, and we are going to cover New York Open live as usual. That's it from me today. First day of the new month. Be careful here. Unusual price activity might be visible, so don't be trapped. See you again tomorrow. Have a great day. Take care. Goodbye.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.